Hello everybody and welcome to VersysCam 1.10. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be taking you on a quick little trip from the Cosby area of eastern Tennessee on Highway 32 to Waterville, North Carolina. Now let me tell you just a little bit about this ride and a little bit about the area that I'll be taking you to. Highway 32 is a curvy two-lane mountain road that runs from Cosby over to Waterville, North Carolina, or to the state line actually in North Carolina. At that point it changes names to Sterling Mountain Road. But this road is filled with curves and changes in altitude, and there are some really pretty views along the way here. And I know that any of you who ride bikes, motorcycles, or even if you just enjoy cars, have heard of the Dragon. The Dragon is on the other side of the Smoky Mountains, and a lot of people go there to test their driving skills. It's just a really fun place to drive with lots of curves and switchbacks and things like that. Well, Highway 32 is not very well known, but it is known colloquially as the Redneck Dragon. There's not very much traffic on this road at all, and it is a shorter version, I guess you could say, of the world famous Dragon, which exists on the other side of the Smokies. So if you're looking for a quiet ride where there won't be a ton of traffic, and it's not a touristy area, but you want somewhere that is fun to ride, then you need to check out Highway 32, aka the Redneck Dragon. You can see already some curves and some changes in altitude here. There are up to 10% grades on this road. And now I'm riding it on a day right after it's rained, and so I'm not going very fast at all, but I'm telling you, this is a fun road to ride on. One of my favorite roads. During the fall, it's absolutely beautiful with the changing leaves and everything. And right now I'm riding in it's December 27th, I believe, is the date of this ride. And no kidding, I had this road to myself. Now, let me tell you a little bit about where I'm taking you to. We're going to be riding over to Waterville, North Carolina. In late September of 2024, Hurricane Helene hit Florida, came up through Georgia, and then took a left turn into western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee. This area that we're going to be riding to today was an area that was heavily affected by that hurricane. By the time the hurricane got this far inland, it was a tropical depression, but it dumped gallons and gallons of water on this area. And this area is there are three major rivers that run through this area. Every single one of them flooded. The river that runs through Waterville is known as the Pigeon River. The Pigeon River is well known for its rafting. Hartford, Tennessee is a rafting community, or it's a kind of a town that's kind of built around rafting. And in Hartford, You go to Hartford, and that's where the outposts are. They load you on some school buses and pile up rafts on top of the school buses, and they carry you up I-40. They carry you east on I-40 to the Waterville exit. Waterville, North Carolina is the put-in place for all of these rafting companies that then raft down the river and end up back in Hartford. Well, Waterville, North Carolina was utterly destroyed by the floods. You're going to see some of that damage today. Much of the road, there's a road there called Waterville Road that runs alongside the river there, and you're going to see that much of the road was literally washed away by the river. Not only that, there is a power plant there called the Duke Energy Plant that's a hydroelectric power plant, and this plant was also took some damage. So on this day when I'm riding, this road that I'm on right now had been closed for the longest time to anyone but locals because I-40 is closed, and this road roughly parallels I-40 heading into western North Carolina. So they were having a lot of semi-trucks, 18-wheelers and transfer trucks, trying to take this road to get to North Carolina since the interstate had closed down. And you're going to see some of these curves here in a little while. There were trucks that were actually getting stuck in the curves because the curves are so sharp they couldn't negotiate and navigate these roads, and so they had to close this road down for the longest time, and it was open only to locals. In fact, I think I'm going to pass a sign here after a while that actually says that the road is closed, and it's closed to everyone but locals. And so I'm a local, so I was on this road, and the last 1.6 miles of this road into Waterville, it actually turns to gravel, and so it's a really neat ride for about the last 1.6 miles, and it has a whole different character than this part of the ride, which is pavement. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about this actual road and what it becomes a little bit later in the video, and you're going to notice that once I get to Waterville, you're going to see a lot of the damage that's there, part of that, and so there are a lot of people who are still recovering from that flood, but just for the next few minutes, enjoy the beauty of this ride. And I'm going to fast forward just a little bit, so it's going to look like I'm going really fast, but I'm telling you, I was not going very fast at all on this road on this day because it was wet, and these curves are extremely sharp in some areas. Look at that view there to your left. Wow. This is why I love this ride. Anyway, enjoy for a little while, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. Okay, this is Davenport Gap. This is on the state line between Tennessee and North Carolina. Highway 32 at this point becomes Sterling Mountain Road, and it goes on into Waterville from here. Davenport Gap is important because this is where the Appalachian Trail crosses Highway 32 here in this part of the Smoky Mountains. So on the right side and on the left side, there are trailheads for the Appalachian Trail, and so a lot of people park up there. And so you can see now I'm going on down the hill here. Of course, a gap is like a space between the mountains that's really high up that you're able to cross over. So that was Davenport Gap. And so now I'm coming down the other side, and I'm going to be coming into Waterville from this side. So I'll let you just enjoy the ride down the side of the mountain here. Well, welcome to Waterville. This intersection right here is very important because depending on which way you go, you can get to 3 different really cool places. Now, we've just come on Highway 32 at Davenport Gap. That became Sterling Mountain Road. So when you get to this intersection here, if you were to take a right at this intersection, it would take you into Big Creek Campground. Big Creek Campground is a Great Smoky Mountains National Park campground, and it is amazing. Nice swimming holes up in here. There's one called Midnight Hole, and it's about a mile up a hiking trail there, but the water is like deep and clear and cold, and there are rocks that you can jump off of. But yeah, so there's really cool swimming holes. There's a picnic area here with swimming holes at the picnic area. There is some amazing trout fishing in this area. In fact, this is literally one of my favorite places to fish for trout in the Smoky Mountains. So that's to the right, Big Creek Campground. There's camping, primitive camping up in there as well. If you were to keep going straight at this intersection, of course, this is Sterling Mountain Road. If you keep going straight, this turns back into a gravel road, and as curvy and up and down as Highway 32 was, it is that curvy, it is that up and down for the next probably 13, 14 miles into the Cataloochee Valley area, and it's basically a single lane road. So it is super fun to drive, whether you're in like a Jeep, a 4x4, or a motorbike. That is a super fun road to drive. I've driven that drive many, many times, and it is by far one of my favorite drives in the Smokies. So I think it's like 4-ish miles up that road. It changes names. There's another gap there where it changes names, and it changes names from Mount Sterling Road to Cataloochee Turnpike. And like I said, follow it on in, it'll take you into Cataloochee, which is kind of like a redneck Cade's Cove, if you will. There are elk there, some old home sites and schools, churches, things like that. There are a couple of really cool bridges on this road, single lane wooden bridges. Used to be some water crossings on that road, but you can't really do those anymore. Now, where we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a left here, and this will take us into Waterville proper, and you'll be able to see some of the things that are in Waterville. There's a park here, and there's the Duke Energy plant. So I'll catch you up on more of that in just a moment. Well, that's the power plant, and as you can see, there is a playground right in this area. And just on the other side of the playground, there's a pretty big swimming hole that a lot of people like to go to. Pretty cool swimming hole. Now, this power plant was damaged during the flooding that happened as part of Hurricane Helene, and they're working on it. And this road that we're about to go down right now is heavily damaged. As a matter of fact, it was closed for a long time. If you look to the right, you can see some of the work being done down at the base of the power plant. This area that I'm coming into right now used to be the parking area where the raft companies would offload their rafts. To the left there are bathrooms and everything, and all of this area to the right used to have just like school buses parked there with rafts on top. You would have hundreds of people out there getting ready to raft this river, and all of that that area has been destroyed and is having to be built back. Now, this used to be a 2-lane blacktop road, and as you can see now, it is a 1-lane gravel road. And you'll be able to see where this guardrail is gone further on up here. There used to be a pretty good bank here, a pretty good shoulder over here to the right, and all of that was washed away in the flood. You can see how wide the river is. If you look out there and you can see how wide the actual water part of it is, that used to be like the width of the river. And now the river itself, the river bed, is about twice as wide as it used to be, and it's actually a lot shallower now as well. So there's going to have to be a lot of work done in this area to make it possible to bring back rafting in this area again. And the whole river has just changed, and everything about it is different now. And like I said, you can see this is a one-lane road that has been reduced to just basically dirt. And they've done a lot of cleaning up in here already. This section that I'm about to come up to now, you can really look to the right and see where they have had to shore up this bank by driving these huge posts into the ground. I think they call them nails around here. And then putting these retaining walls in to hold back this, because all of this just wants to cave off into the river. So in one of my other videos, I talked about Hartford. I'll try to put a link to that video in the description of this one, so you can go take a look at the ride that I took through Hartford, where I talked about Hartford, which is the place where all of these rafting companies are based. And in that video, and I'll also put it in the description of this video, I linked to some places if you want to give to Hurricane Helene relief, because there are still people, even to this day, living in tents. Their homes were washed away, entire communities just gone. And if you would like to give to relief efforts in the area, I'll put a couple of links in the description. Now, right here where that car is stopping right there, that is the Appalachian trailhead over here on this side of the park. So to the right here is Interstate I-40, and so at this point the Appalachian Trail comes off the side of the mountain, and you actually have to walk on this paved road in the direction that other car is going. You'll walk across this bridge, and I'm actually going to take a right up here. Once I get over this bridge, I'm going to take a right, and then I'll take another left. I'll go under the interstate, and so if you're hiking on the Appalachian Trail, you walk across here, you go up the direction I'm about to go, you hike under the interstate, and then the trail enters the, I think it's the Cherokee National Forest on the other side of the interstate, and so it enters the forest there on the other side of the interstate. So very famous trail system there, the Appalachian Trail from Springer Mountain in Georgia up to Mount Katahdin in Maine. Over 2,000 miles of hiking, I believe. So yep, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this ride, and if you ever get a chance, take you a little trip on Highway 32, Mount Sterling, and hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe.